Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film slash movie review. This is an original Netflix movie, and it is called Black Crab. IMDb gave it a 5.6, dude.
I disagree with that.
I totally disagree.
We'll talk
with
about that later.
Yeah.
I disagree with that.
They gave this joint a 5.6, man. That is, I don't know, man. I kind of like this film. What do you think?
I liked it a lot. I like war movies, and
Yeah.
I like war movies that have a unique take on human struggling, sacrifice, what people are going through during the war. Because a lot of action movies, whatever, they have wars. It's awesome. Everything's going great. War sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks a lot, and you're not gonna win. There's no winners in war. Everybody loses something, and so I like the moral dilemma of this movie is posing. And we'll get to that in the plot spoiler stuff, but I like that. I like it. I thought it was interesting.
Very interesting. This joint was filmed in Sweden.
Yeah, it's basically all Swedish
It's
people.
all Swedish people.
As far as I could tell.
I listened to a little bit of it like in Sweden. I was like, oh, okay, then I had the subtitles. I was like, nah, let me just go English here, just see what's up. But
Yeah, I just did English.
yeah, this film, it was okay, it was really long. It didn't need to be that long, right? It was like,
Yeah, you could probably trim a little bit of it.
yeah, give me like
But
130.
it was
Mhm.
setting up. The beginning is setting up the atmosphere for what the world is like.
Yeah.
And the world sucks. Like they're like, so I guess we could kind of give a overview of the
Overview.
plot points.
Okay, cool. Let's give a brief overview, then we can get into it.
Yeah, so they're in the middle of a war, and I guess this part of Europe is losing, and they're losing badly. And they've decided they need to. They're sending on some people on a mission to make it up to this biolab that's like way across Sweden on the other side of the map. And so they've tasked a bunch of soldiers who can ice skate or good ice skaters to take this secret mission behind enemy lines all the way up to this biolab so they can end the war. And that's what the whole movie's about. The struggles of these soldiers on the mission to get up to this biolab.
Right, exactly. So, how the movie started, excuse me, what they did was, it was kind of interesting how they just, when they started the movie, they were like, hey, these two, the lead character, Caroline, and her daughter, Vanja, or whatever her name is. I know I'm going to butcher all these
It's a Swedish names,
names.
man. It is what
So
it
we're
is.
going to say the main character.
Boy.
Right. I'm not butchering these names, But so how it started was they were in a car and they just got picked up.
Ambush. They're just snatching people.
That's it, right? And then I was like, and then they just started the film, right? And so I was like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? But what they did was they kept going back and setting up like why this happened, giving us a little bit here, a little bit there, until all of a sudden it all came together. I have to say something about this movie, right? I don't know, but I think this movie was probably one of the better movies I've seen in terms of how the storyline went through, how it progressed, right?
Yeah, it was done pretty good. Like it wasn't dragging or anything like that, but it
Right.
gave you a good context. Like you had, because it doesn't go into detail about who the war is about or what they're doing, where they're fighting, but it gives you a good feeling about what's happening here. Like it's clear what's happening.
Yeah.
Like you understand the mother's motivation.
Yep.
She lost her daughter, and then here comes this general. He's like, "Hey, if you get up to this biolab and carry this thing for us, your daughter's over there." And that's all the motivation she needed. She was like, "This suicide, can't do it." He's like, "Your daughter's up there." She's like, "We'll find a way. We'll figure it out."
Like we didn't know.
That's all
we didn't know that in the beginning, we didn't know that they were looking for, former ice skaters.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have known who they were fighting against because the enemy was straight Swiss cheesing them, catching them on base, like completely
Yeah,
destroying them.
they bombed that base. Like I was like, oh damn,
I mean,
I spent a little money on this movie.
they,
The budget,
dude. Well,
it
here's
looks good.
it looks good, but do you think they spent a little money, some money on this movie, or was it a lot less inexpensive because it was shot in Sweden?
100%, it was
Mhm.
inexpensive because of how they shot it, but
Yeah,
you could feel the scope and scale of the movie. It doesn't feel like, oh, they didn't have any money, so there's no explosions. You just got to take our word for it. There's some bad guys out there.
yeah.
Like you felt that, especially when they're on the ice and you can see like the search parties looking for them. Like it felt like, oh, they got some money. They got a little bit of money to make this movie. It feels like a big scope. It's grand in scale.
Do you think that those scenes were actually shot on the ice?
I think so.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so too.
a good chunk of that area is they shot it live,
Yeah,
and
because they were talking about,
it feels like it.
yeah, this is the Swedish like archipelago. So that's huge, right?
Hmm.
In terms
Yeah,
of
it's a big
archipelagos,
area.
right? Uh-huh. So
There's a bunch of islands out there.
right, so it's like, okay, wow, it felt like and it looked like all this stuff was shot on location,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the kind of stuff like people don't realize. It adds the realism
Yeah,
of being there, and you can see the scale. Because like if you do green screen, like we talked about Obi-Wan, like it was all green screen.
yeah,
Like they had their LCD panel, whatever they're doing. So like they can't walk far. Everyone's got to stand close together in a certain area, but like this, you could see like, oh, these guys are in the islands. It's really frozen over, and it looks crazy. Like the visuals are stunning. Like you could just see like the skyline of just nothing but ice and
yeah.
sea. Like it looks stunning.
This was another sleeper, and
I agree. I agree.
another sleeper. And here's the other thing: it was a sleeper, and
It's a
it was a
foreign film.
foreign film. You know, the storyline. If you really think about this, right? How someone said
Hmm.
Adam Berg, right? He directed the joint. I think he also wrote it with a partner, right?
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, here's a story for a film.
Mhm.
This is it. It's all about a woman, a mother, a daughter, an ice skater, and basically biochemical weaponry." Right?
Yeah. Bioweapons
Right.
in the middle of the war
Right.
in the future.
I would have loved again, I would have loved to have known who was the enemy. I mean, was it like, Finland or was it like Hungary? I mean, I don't know, right? Because
Yeah, yeah. They
in
got beef, don't they? They still
yeah,
got beef.
because they said absolutely nothing about who the enemy was, but the enemy was,
Mhm.
you know,
You could feel the presence though. That's the thing that's interesting. The way they shot it.
yeah,
It felt like, oh, they're losing. They're in dire straits. Like they have nothing left. This is it. This is the Hail Mary. And so like it felt like the walls are closing in and like they have to get this done. I thought that was fascinating. Just the atmosphere and that is tense throughout the whole movie. Like there's a lot of movies like it's just like this is a joke. Now they'll make it fine. Like I didn't know where this was going at all. I didn't even know they're gonna make it. Like I didn't know because they got ambushed a bunch of times and it was brutal.
I
That's all
mean,
I gotta say. It was brutal when they got to the mountaintop. I was like, oh damn,
yeah, it
they
was
got gunned down.
completely crazy. And I guess the lead character Caroline is her first name, but it's not pronounced Caroline in Sweden. It's pronounced,
Yeah,
another
it was,
different
it was the Edo or something. Is it EDH?
Yeah, I don't. I
Where?
mean, they kept
Yeah,
saying it,
I
but
don't know
I'm
how to
like,
pronounce.
Are they saying Edith or Ida or I don't know, man. But
It's like Ed.
I'm not gonna butcher that name. But but this was again, the film was pretty cool. Beautiful scene, beautifully shot.
Mhm.
Visuals were dope.
Visuals are crazy.
Acting was
It looks
sicko,
stunning.
right? No
Yeah, yeah.
screaming kids. This is a serious film, so we don't need
And those
screaming
screaming
kids.
kids.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah, and also a little sort of backstabbing intrigue too, right?
Yeah, because like the purpose of this trip was she was gonna go get to see her daughter,
Yeah.
and she finally gets it to after losing limbs. She got shot. She had all this stuff. She got up there. She made it there. She brought the bioweapon, And they're like, yeah, we just need your motivation. Like, she lost it. Like, she absolutely lost it.
That is
And I
insane.
felt, when she was crying on the floor, I was like, yeah, I felt that.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's cold blood. But like, in war, all these generals, they use this kind of stuff to get you motivated to do
Yeah.
things that you probably wouldn't do, to
Uh,
get you to go beyond what you're capable of.
right. I mean,
And so, like, I wasn't surprised when he said it, but I was like, damn, that's cold blooded.
during the Second World War, the Nazis were like completely
Mhm.
just like strung out on drugs. That's what Blitzkrieg was all about.
Yeah,
Let's get them
yeah,
amped up. And now
whatever
they're
it
like,
takes.
for like 5 days, they're just like traveling and fighting straight, no sleeping. I mean, because of the drugs,
Mhm,
So yeah,
mhm,
in military, you do whatever you need to do to get your, soldiers motivated, to
mhm,
like, I guess, make sure that they have a successful mission. So that sort of
mhm.
worked out. Old girl lost what, 2 or 3 toes. She almost
Yeah,
lost
she
three
lost 3
fingers.
toes,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
She almost lost some fingers. She got shot a couple times.
There
Yeah,
was a
she was in bad shape
yeah,
when she got there.
there was some stuff that was confusing about this, right? The first one
Mhm,
was, okay, if this is a virus, basically this is a virus, right?
mhm,
So the lead character, Caroline, and Nayland, or whatever his name is, again, I'm not going to butcher these names. The
mhm.
soldier she shot, the lieutenant who became a captain.
Yeah, yeah.
That lieutenant was like, we have to destroy it, right? But here's the
Mhm.
thing. So how do you destroy a bioweapon without it, like, basically,
Fire. That's the only way is fire.
right?
You gotta destroy with fire. You burn it.
Right. So, but she fell off the cliff, or at least jumped off the cliff with the
Mhm.
virus like strapped to a grenade, and it blew up. So,
Yeah,
does
yeah.
that mean that the virus is now like out there?
Well, I think it would be airborne in that specific area, and it'll probably just disintegrate or whatever. I don't know how potent that was. They weren't really clear,
Mhm.
but I think like that immediate area is probably infected right now. Because I think, honestly, what I think the plan was is that they were going to go into an underground bunker and just whatever happens outside is whatever happens.
Yeah.
Everybody dies outside, and it is what it is. And she said, whoever that captain or that general or whatever, she was like, "It's going to be some growing pains and adjustment period."
Right.
So I'm assuming like the world is going to be just dead, and then like 20 years, 30 years later, they can come out from the bunker and be like, "All right, we're good to go." I think that was their plan, something like that,
It's like
which is
the
nuts.
right. It's like Tomorrow World when they had to go into a bunker and chill out for like 9 months, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
come out, and it's like, okay, this is like, because so if you release this, and it's the same thing again, like Tomorrow World, it's just like, this stuff is going on,
Mhm.
this stuff is in the atmosphere, we need to be in the bunker.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have this virus that they're going to release on the enemy, which will kill the enemy, but it will also kill
Plus your
everyone
people
else.
too.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's gonna kill a good chunk of the world. It's gonna
So,
annihilate a good chunk of the world.
you're
Yeah.
sort of weighing the collateral damage, like, okay, is it 1 million people, or is it like 2 billion people? Right.
Yeah, yeah. What? I was thinking about this. Now, do you think the mother would have done what she did if her daughter was on the base? Because she sacrificed herself to stop them from unleashing this virus, right?
Right.
Do you think she would have done what she did if her daughter was there and she could just get off in that helicopter and just leave?
Well, she first of all, she needed to find her daughter. They said
Yeah, yeah,
they didn't necessarily said the daughter. They said the daughter was in a
yeah. They don't
refugee
know if she's
camp.
dead
Right.
or whatever. She's in a camp, whatever. So
Right.
she's thinking, if I unleash it, I could potentially kill her. So that's why she did it. But like, if her daughter was safe with her,
Mhm.
do you think she'd be like, "Yo, f these guys, whatever, YOLO, burn the world"?
Um, well, it depends on what sort of safety she has. I mean, is she going to be in a bunker
Mhm.
like with her daughter? Then that's okay, right? Then you'll be in a
Yeah,
bunker
yeah,
for
yeah,
9 months, no sun, nothing like
yeah.
that, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, and once you got on the helicopter, where did the helicopter go? Because basically
Yeah.
Sweden was like being pounded by the enemy, right?
Yeah.
So
They're finished.
I'm going to say yes. If you had, I mean, the whole purpose of her getting to
Mhm.
Oba or whatever this
Yeah,
joint is
just save
called,
her daughter. After
save her
that, she didn't
daughter,
care.
right? She was like, I don't care
Yeah.
about this, right? Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think if she had known that, she would have scooped up her daughter and bounced and be like, I don't care
Peace
about
out.
anyone else. Like I got the antibody, you know, or something like that. So yeah, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, she
Mhm.
would have definitely bounced. I mean, like I think anyone, I mean, if that's your loved one,
Mhm.
your daughter, your husband, your wife, you know,
Yeah, knowing they're out there
yeah,
still, it's like, oh yeah, I can't do
you
this.
may say, hey,
We're
okay,
wrong.
we are reunited. I don't care about anything
Mhm.
else. You know, I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
if you have
yeah.
other family like in other places, other like parts of the country or whatever. But you know, most
Mhm.
of the civilian population was basically destroyed anyway, killed.
Yeah, they're in camps. So it was not looking good.
The
It
enemy
was
was
a
killing
rough life.
everyone, kids, grandmas, grandmothers, whatever. What do you think about
Yeah,
that old
yeah.
couple, like who had the like old boy had like a little
Oh,
pistol?
on the island. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was
That
crazy,
was
wasn't it?
wild. That was an
Mhm.
intense scene. That was very intense.
Yeah.
Cause they were like, hey everybody, just come on in, have some dinner with us. And,
Mhm.
like everyone let their guard down, like they didn't know what was happening. And it's kind of wild because like they're in the middle of all this stuff
Yeah.
and they're acting like everything's fine, like there's nothing going on right now. And yeah, I think that's a lesson in do not trust people, especially when you're in the apocalypse. Don't trust anybody. Like you got to treat everybody like they're dangerous.
Like,
Can't
listen.
trust nobody, man.
And then, you know, I'm not quite sure how the military, the enemy, kept
Hmm.
finding them. I don't know if that guy was really a spy or a double agent or something like that,
That's a good point.
you
That
know?
that dude with the because he said he was trying to talk to his girlfriend, and that's why he made the call.
Yeah.
And it kind of checked out, but still,
But
like
did it really
I
check
think
out
that
though? But did it really check out?
no, it was vague.
Right.
You don't. It's up to you to decide if it's
Mhm.
true or not.
Right.
But
Because,
I yeah, I because okay, when they were on the base initially,
mhm,
he did say like that he's looking he wanted to get married to his girlfriend. Like that they let that earlier on in the movie.
mhm,
So I think maybe his motivations were kind of about his girl. But like they know the base was wiped out, so the odds of her being good is low
yeah.
to zero.
The other thing is this, right? I mean, if you're a spy or a double agent
Mhm.
or whatever, you know, they spend months on training you, getting your story right, the whole
Yeah,
nine.
you're embedded,
You're
like you're in
embedded.
it.
So it's just like okay, so he started off by saying, okay, when you get to the base, you have to talk about this is what you want to do when the war is over. And then the
Mhm.
communications, you know, it's like, hey, this is base F-28. They know base
Mhm.
F-28 was destroyed. It's nothing there.
Yeah, they knew that.
Right.
They knew that before they left.
Right.
They knew that.
So
He told them. They
right.
told
So
everybody.
so
Yeah.
even when a person like radioed them and said, hey, this is, you know, blah, 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 I'm blah, blah, blah's, you know, girlfriend, it's just like
Mhm.
that could have been like, you know, in some bunker, an enemy bunker, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Just someone like on the
Yeah,
same radio frequency, like, hey, you know, I know you're there, blah, blah, blah. The other thing was, how did
Mhm.
they know they were right there? You know? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
I think he was
I
a
think if you were
spy.
using the radio, you could
Mhm.
definitely pick up the signals.
Yeah.
If there it's like a cell phone. If you're using the cell phone, you can pick up a signal that it's a pinging back to whatever the towers are or whatever. So I think maybe you can kind of scope the area where they're at because he was with them for a good chunk of it. So with the I guess the quote unquote spy,
I
if
think
he's
he
on
was
the
a spy
radio, I think they can contact them or at least track them down with the radio signals. It's
because
like a cell phone.
if you really think about it, right? They were traveling, you know, on
Mhm.
the ice. They hit a base. Nothing, no enemy was tracking them
Yeah, no problem until he made the
until
call.
right, exactly. Now you can intercept stuff like that. I mean, the whole nine, like you said, but that's when
Mhm.
everything started happening after he communicated with his girl or whatever it was. So I don't know.
I mean, it's very
It's
possible.
very
Like
possible.
anything's possible. Yeah. But like it's interesting that they left it vague instead of clarifying if he was a spy or not.
Yeah. Well,
You couldn't tell. This is up to you.
yeah, I think a lot of that stuff was by design. Like, for instance, who was the enemy?
Hmm.
Is this a world war, or is this like, two countries fighting each other? What was it, right? So we don't really know that. So I think
I
all
think
that was
World
interesting.
War. I think is the whole globe. I think is a big one.
Mhm. Wow. So they would have destroyed like half of Europe with this virus
I think Europe would be jacked.
just to win the
Pretty much
war.
all Europe. Yeah,
Wow.
for sure.
Yeah. Like when she was in the Hummer and she was like being taken
Hmm.
to the base, and they showed that
Oh yeah,
apartment building with the hole in
yeah,
it
the
right
camps,
through it.
other people. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, wow, a missile just went straight through the
yeah.
building. That was
Yeah.
like, that to me looked really real, didn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm saying like it added to by being on location
Hmm.
and being in this area it added to the scope of the movie. It made it feel bigger than it really was because like the movie's basically just five of these people ice skating for a good chunk of the movie. It's this good chunk, but like
It's an
because
ice
of where the
skating movie.
locations are, yeah, it's a war on ice or something. But like it just the scope and you can see the part of the country, whatever. Like it feels like it's a bigger thing than it is, and that just helps by shooting on location. Like you can't get that from the CGI stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't feel the same. You can, the other thing is you can, it's almost like, as music producers, we can
Hmm.
hear if something was, if you have too many plugins or something sounds
Yeah, yeah.
a bit made on a
Or
digital
or like
level.
a live instrument versus like
Right.
a synthesizer. You could
Yeah.
tell.
You could
You could
tell.
feel it.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
you can, again, like we said in the beginning, you can tell that it looked like a majority of this film was shot on location.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, the skies, everything, the road, like this is sick right here. This is sick.
Yeah, when they got into the ice and you could see the skyline and just nothing but the ice and snow, I was like,
Mhm.
"Damn, this looks crazy."
Right.
That's what I think that scene. I was interested in the movie because like I like the war stuff and post apocalyptic stuff, but like when I saw that scene, I was like, "Oh, okay, what is this about? This is interesting."
It's
Like the
crazy, man.
visuals was crazy. Yeah, when they were running on ice skating, the visuals were crazy because it was like you had that borealis or whatever it is, like
Mhm.
you could see like the green in the sky
Yeah.
and the visuals, like it draws you in.
Wasn't that
It's
like
so
wasn't that like a Northern Lights thing? That sort of looked kind of cool, didn't it?
yeah. That's
Hmm.
what I'm saying. Yeah, the skyline looked
Hmm.
nuts
Yeah.
because they were right between dusk and dawn,
Was did that
and like you had that.
did
Yeah,
did that look real to you?
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
It
they did. They filmed all this stuff like
that
early
totally
in the
looked
morning,
real
like
to me.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Totally looked
Yeah.
real to me. I was like, wow, okay. So here's the thing, right?
Hmm.
I watch a lot of Russian war movies. You can see a lot of those war movies on
Hmm.
Amazon for the most part. You can get some on Netflix as well. I
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
French war movies, and this is a
Hmm.
Swedish war movie. When you think about American war movies and like how these other foreigners, these foreign countries are doing it, man, these foreign
It's
countries totally different.
yeah.
I mean,
It's kind of glamorized here,
yeah,
and it's getting you feel like yeah, we're winning, and it's the America, we're
right,
winning, everything's great.
exactly.
But they're like, war sucks. All those other movies, war is awful. It's an awful experience.
Listen, I mean, it's just like, okay, so you have this like you have this, I guess it's almost like Rocky, not Rocky, I'm sorry, Rambo. Rambo is like a
Hmm.
super soldier. So
Hmm.
that's all being glorified, right? When Arnold
Yeah, yeah,
Schwarzenegger played like military person, right? He's a super
mhm.
soldier, right? It's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, I'm like, but no, here is just like stories, like people have families,
It's a
just
regular people. I
that's
think
it.
that war is more interesting when it's a regular person
Yeah.
versus like super soldier. He's just gunning everybody down. Like it's more interesting when you see like the personal struggles of what they're going through.
This
And
movie
yeah,
is a complete sleeper, man. I'm telling you. I don't understand how and someone
hmm
I don't understand how, this is a 5.4 or 5.2. rating on this. I was reading
That's just trash right
a
there.
comment on IMDb, and one person was saying, like, I don't understand how this movie got a 5.2. This is an awesome movie. I
It's
think,
a great movie.
right, and I think it's largely due to, just like you said, right? American war films are glorified. These are regular people.
Yeah.
Just trying to, reconnect with their family. So it's not like someone's like busting through like different barracks, like Swiss cheese. And it's not like one person killing 100 people. Ridiculous, right? It's just like,
yeah.
Come on, right? Who does that? Right. So I don't know. But this was a really good movie. Obviously, we don't know any of these characters at all, but I know
the Naomi Rapace. I know her because she's the girl with the dragon tattoo, and she was in
Wait a minute.
Sherlock Holmes.
That was her? I thought that was a Rooney.
No, the original one, the Swedish one. She did because the book is Swedish,
right?
She did the original thing. That's the first time I ever saw her.
Okay, watching
that movie. That movie's hilarious because it's not intentionally hilarious, but it's hilarious.
But the second one starred Rooney.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the Americanized with David Fincher.
Yeah,
they remade it.
Right, and Daniel Craig. Wasn't Daniel Craig in it? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the original Swedish version of the movie she did.
Okay.
And she had like this crazy mohawk. And it was comedy for hacking. It was pure comedy. The hacking was funny.
Okay.
All the computer stuff in movies is so funny to me, but
do you know anyone else? Any other actors in this film?
No. I was looking at IMDb. I was like, I don't recognize him, but I do recognize her because I've seen her in a bunch of other stuff. But like that was the first movie I saw from her.
Okay.
Whenever that came out, it came out a long time ago.
Wow.
But like that was the first movie I saw. So I've known her for a long time.
America just took it and Americanized it.
Yeah. But the remake was good though. I did like the remake. I think they did a good job with it.
I like that too because it's Daniel Craig. I'm sort of a fan of his. So okay,
it's David Fincher, man. Like, come on. Yeah, David Fincher's a beast.
Exactly. So here we go. Black Crab, a Netflix original. So what'd you think? What was your rating for this film?
Ooh, I would say 7.5. I liked it a lot. I think if they're because it's a foreign film, so you got the dub and all that other stuff. So like the acting couldn't be as good as it could be if they were speaking English. But I liked it a lot. I thought the story was good. I like these movies where these moral dilemmas are going on, especially in war.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting and puts like a face behind it. Like it's realistic because like people make tough decisions during war and they do stuff that they probably wouldn't have, or, like a lot of these people, regular people, and then war happened. And, you get to put into these wild circumstances and you got to make these tough decisions. And that's a compelling story to me. And so like, yeah, overall, I like this movie a lot. I thought it was great.
I'm going to give this film an 8 because I really liked it. It was a sleeper. Generally I would like Kirk out because there are a lot of things that we don't know. Who's the enemy?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of questions. There's a ton of questions.
When did she join the army? Did they force her join the army because she's a skater? I don't know, right? But the way the story went, I really didn't care about that, even though it was in the back of my head, right? The story, it moved really well, didn't it?
It was a compelling story. Like, you want to know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Visuals were dope. I don't understand like the 5.2 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 50%. I don't know what that means. But
that's some trash right there. Right. That's lies. It's a great movie.
Right. The only thing I would do differently is I think that this could be an hour and 30-minute movie. I think it could be. Because
you could trim down some stuff.
Yeah, hour and 40 minutes, something like that. Even though, not that you can trim down on stuff because everything in the movie, the entire hour and 54 minutes, it was compelling from start to end. However, because it's a new film, like new everything, I think with film like that, with movies and films like that, like don't start us off with 2 hours. Start us off with like an hour and a half.
Well, this is not a sequel type movie. This movie's done. This
Right.
is the end of the story.
But, I mean, let's say if they wanted to come back. If they wanted to come back. Obviously, they can't because old girl is dead. She killed herself. Yeah, so I gave it an 8. DJ Keo gave it a 7.5. I think that this is a sleeper. This is a sleeper.
I agree.
Just like Spiderhead was a sleeper. We watched 2 sleepers within a week. And
Netflix got some gems on there.
Well, we will see because
they got a lot of trash, but they have some gems. They're hidden gems.
They're dropping a lot of trash on Netflix. A lot of reality TV. You got the Asians, you got the Africans now, and you got like the just everything. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.